Hello, good evening. It's 10 p.m. and guess what? It's Tuesday. That only means one thing. This is the eye test with myself and bath time. And we're going to be talking about the Arsenal game. Yes, the Arsenal game. We beat them on Sunday, and there's a lot to go through. Welcome to the eye test. My name is Omundi Juma. Thanks for returning, guys, and tuning in. Tonight we are talking all things Man United versus Arsenal. We beat them 3-1 at the weekend, and I was buzzing about it. If you're part of the channel, you know that Mr. B and Errol came around to watch it. We all watched it together. And I was trying to take mental note of things, but with Mr. B doing his little jingle next to me, it was rather distracting, you know. But Bartay, how was your experience watching the game?
It was fantastic. I loved every minute of it. It was great. I love United, and I can't believe we've won 4 games in a row, including Liverpool and Arsenal. It's I'm blown away with the football that we're playing, and I can't wait to show all of you at home and in chat and watching around the world. Let us know where you're from about how good United have turned into. It's great. What do you reckon, Amondo?
I reckon last 4 games, it's been brilliant. And you know what? To be doing a show like this, and also be watching the games and seeing how the manager's performing, I sort of get suspicion. I'm thinking maybe you've got a hotline to Eric Ten Hag or something, or you're attending training sessions because you got it down to a T. And it's given me so much confidence. I'll tell you, by half time that. During the week, obviously, I'm in London. There's a lot of Arsenal fans and thing. During the week, I gave a conclusive, like real confident prediction of how we were going to win the game. And, I was so sure of myself, it wound a few people up. And I said we score 3 goals. I said we'd be in control of all phases of play. And this is how exactly it went down. And people look at me now like some sort of prophet, of doom for Arsenal anyway. But I really do think the eye test show and yourself, when we've been going in so much detail and so much going deep into how Man United are playing, it gives you a lot of confidence about how we set up and why we've been doing so well. So I'm loving it right now. I don't want it to end because I might be able to make some money off United this season.
Can you imagine if we had? Can you imagine if we had to do the eye test with like Mourinho and Ole and people like that? It's Ten Hag's given us like a lot of stuff, and one of the main reasons that like I do the eye test is because I have no choice; he forces me. But the second is we'd really like it when people tell us that things that we've highlighted or brought to their attention on the eye test, that they begin to recognise them in games. So, like, if you want your comment read out, like, we'll stop the show if you start, we'll stop the show, we'll interrupt it if you start telling us how great we are, because, we need to know, innit? I don't know where I was going with that, sorry.
I think, look, that Cosmo, for example, I mean, he's been following for the last few weeks and really been a good supporter. But he's saying Lord Darius. Do you know what I'm saying? Because it's like you're a prophet we can actually predict what's going to happen during the game. We know how we're going to set up in a way, and it gives you confidence going into each game. Say, right, this is our strengths and weaknesses, and people are watching the game of football now differently, I believe, with a different set of eyes due to the eye test, maybe. Yeah, so really proud to be associated with this show.
Yeah, well, we worked very hard on it, and
here we go. It started.
Yeah. Right. Only children and clowns need applause, and
I'll be a clown. I don't mind.
I know. I was going to say we're not children, so we have to be clowns. Thank you, Ajmal. I feel that the Scott McTominay renaissance has been led by the United agenda, and lots of people are now beginning to understand why he played 170 games under 5 different managers. And we're going to show you more of what McTominay was up to today. But I think, Monday, we should probably have a quick look at what the lineups and what Arsenal were trying to do to us.
Before we do, I just want to say myself quickly, I'm a convert as well, McTominay. I've always felt that he works hard. He's a good, strong player, physical. I know what he's got there, but when it comes to the technical side of the game, I thought, no, he's not good enough. But I realised these attributes are so strong, and what he's producing at Bath Times convinced me that he is a valuable asset to the football club right now. So yeah, I agree with you, Cosman. Anyway, yeah, let's go to the lineups for Arsenal versus Manchester United. Let's go.
All right, let me know when my screen is showing.
Okay, so there we go. Here's the
All right.
tactical board.
In most of the clips, we're going to have everyone's names, but to be perfectly honest, I forgot to do this with the names here. But so what we're seeing here is how United want to play, which is narrow. Like Ten Hag likes a really narrow style of football that everyone will have commented and told you that that's what he does. The reason, however, he likes it narrow, I believe, is for two reasons. One is because, as we're going to get onto later, we have a big issue in our build-up from the back. So we're relying on a lot of aerial balls, and that means we need a good counter-press structure. So instead of having Anthony and Sancho wide, we need them at least in the half spaces in order to get men around the ball.
Challenge, yeah.
Yeah. Now, we also know that United like to play a block. And what Arsenal will attempt to do in this game is they will have Lokonga and Xhaka, and I don't really care what you think of these players, because I know Xhaka's hated. They're going to try and split our pivots and make a hole here for Jesus and for Odegaard to run in off Bruno, whilst having Saka and Martinelli high and wide.
Yeah.
So that is essentially what we were expecting to see from Arsenal. And what we saw in the first 10 minutes was a huge amount of United possession. But before we get on to that, is there anything that you want to comment on the Arsenal lineup or even our selection of Omundi? Were you equally delighted to see Solo was wrong and we didn't have the Brazil midfield?
Look, I don't think you can break up the Scott McTominay Eriksen partnership, as we've been talking about all week. Over the last couple of weeks, he can't break that up, but he can bring in Elanga, take off Elanga, and bring in Anthony. That was the only real change that he's done, and it's good to see. He can't make all these vast changes. Anthony obviously scored, so the manager looks like a genius. But he also showed a lot of qualities that we'll come on to later in the game, later in the show, I imagine. But I really like the double block, the block of Eriksen and McTominay, because they're on the page, they're working well together. And it's the system, like you keep saying, which is more important rather than the player. Whether as big a status that he has, Casemiro, I was behind that decision to stick with Eriksen and McTominay for this game at the weekend.
Yeah, I agree. Like Casemiro got our boys Maguire and McTominay yellow cards when he came on because he didn't respect the block, and that's like the buzzword for United at the moment is respect the block, because we're beating Liverpool and Arsenal by having good defensive principles, and it's you win leagues by having good defensive principles, and lads, United are going somewhere. But I am very delusional, but I do believe that's the case. So, Omundi, what we have here is a very long clip of the possession that we enjoyed in around the 10th minute or so. And would you like to just talk us through this cavalcade?
Before you press play,
yeah,
I just want to say how impressed I was by the possession that we had, because, I think you got to start with baby steps. You get the structure right, you get the defense right, you get the block right. But to be able to be playing football in the opposition half, that's something we haven't been able to do for a long time now. And keep the ball. I was nearly off my feet watching this sort of passage of plays that we had and the movement of the ball and shifting the Arsenal defence all over the place with our play. And it showed one facet of our play, which I was really delighted with. And I'm thinking, wow, if we can improve on this as well, we've got so many, we can master so many possessions of play, with or without the ball. And this is something I've been looking forward to. So, yeah, let's play this and see how beautiful this was for us, and unusual as well.
And also, just before we start, you can see how effective keeping the ball is as we forced Arsenal into a 5-4-1 block. But here we go.
So Sancho's got the ball wide. with numbers. He's popped inside to Scott. There's a lot of rotations there. Bruno's come wide. Ericsson's deep. Malasia's in the half space there. Lovely balls. Now Rashford usually gives it away. He plays away he's facing, pops it back to Ericsson. He plays it wide to Sancho. Sancho's got almost a one-on-one, but he gets doubled up. He plays back to Ericsson, plays a 1-2. Look at this transition of play, all down the left-hand side. And suddenly we split the play. Varane's waited, drove forward, waiting for the engagement and popped it off like he did last week. Scott's there in the middle, popped it wide. Malacia, risky ball, I imagine, but yeah, it went to Dalot. And Martinez is here, lovely left foot wand, straight into Bruno's feet, and they've stretched again. Now Sancho's got more space to work with. And this time he drives in and we get a shot on target, possibly. So that was a lovely move. Focus down the left and sort of end up down the right, back down to the left, where we finally got that one-on-one with Sancho. It was, I don't remember that play to mind, but that, yeah, just seeing that on the graphics makes
it's
it all,
the first
all the
couple
better.
of minutes, and it's absolutely beautiful because you can see that on the ball side, we've got space. We've made this space here, and we've made space here. These areas are gold dust to get in football. It's absolutely ridiculous how well we have moved. We basically done this to Arsenal. We've made them get into a V, and that means that all these areas over here are all ours. And they're also not in a good position to counter-attack, because even though we like the rest defence, and this is kind of a rest defence, you would want Dalot to be a little bit more central, but you also have to take risks sometimes. And when you look at this here, we've got enough men around the ball to be able to push Dalot in and wait for the rotation of Bruno to get in the rest defence, which, as you will see, would take Saka, leave Malacia 3 and bring Ben White out. And at any stage during this clip, I can stop it, and you can see that we've made huge gaps. Huge gaps that we're going into. The space between... Look, this is one block, this is another block, and this is a block. This is the half space. This is probably the most dangerous position that you're likely to get up. And we've got 4 players able to move into that half space. And we've also began to just stretch Gabriel and Zinchenko by having Anthony over here, protected by Dalot. This is seriously good football. And now we're in a much better structure here, where McTominay has realised that he needs to get out into the centre, which also gives us this platform to recycle the ball if we get pressed. Because Jesus isn't going to press 3 people. I don't care. But
he was good at pressing, though, wasn't he? He was a nuisance.
Excellent. Yeah. But what I really like about this is that we do something that we'll talk about with Arsenal later, where we're willing to send the ball back home.
Yeah.
Like here, what we have done, right, is we've finally, Jesus and Odegaard have come back. Like, the block has got a bit tighter, and we've got, is that 6 players? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We've got 6 players. So when you've got 6 players in this area, you're going to get nowhere. You have to get the ball out here.
Yeah.
And so what do United do? Varane, as we highlighted against, was it Leicester on Monday? In the second half?
No, it would have been Southampton.
Southampton's.
Yeah. Leicester, yeah.
If you've seen the eye test, I said that one of the big differences in the second half against Southampton was Varane would carry the ball to commit a player in the centre to allow a ball out wide. And this is in the first 10 minutes. He's carried that on. You can see that McTominay has come back to support, and we've got a triangle over here. That means if we get into problems, we have to get it into this position as soon as possible.
Stop.
Okay.
Look, McTominay, man, wow. It's like, I'm looking at Varane. So Varane is popped the ball and he's continued his run in a way. And McTominay just automatically just filled in, and then Varane gets back in position. It's lovely. McTominay, yeah. I doubted his IQ, but he's definitely doing the business right now.
And then look at that. he's got in line with Ericsson, and you can see that is our rest defence protecting the
Yeah.
centre of the pitch, and a huge gap has opened up here. So when Arsenal fans tell you, or Liverpool fans tell you, that United are not a possession team, this is absolutely fantastic from United. And make no mistake, Sancho works best in possession-based teams.
Yeah. That's
Like
true.
we'll see. I know a lot of us, including myself, disappointed with Sancho, um, but we'll see much more of him. Like as we begin to improve, and you can also see for all my Salida Volpiana fans, we've got a three at the back build up there, which I'm a massive fan of. We've got a block here, all of it protecting this central area. So even though we're in possession, we've got a 6-on-6 if it gets counter pressed here, and a 5-on-4 if it gets counter pressed there. That's incredible football.
It's amazing, isn't it? That all throughout that, every single stage, every single pass, if we did give the ball away, we were set up in a good position,
Yeah.
as you highlighted just there. That's a beautiful thing, and I think side should take note from that. And it's other thing I'm noticing as well. Malacia, he's comfortable in those areas. Look, he's picking up the ball in the half space, just outside the box. He's moving the ball. He's getting back into shape.
Yeah, poor Ben White and Lokonga have been dragged all over the place, and then we see it come out. All right. Is
That's
there
lovely.
anything more you want to say on that, Omundi, or should we
Just
read some
credit
comments?
to the team and the manager. The manager, you think you do one thing at a time. Let's focus on the shape and everything else. But he's obviously developed that, and he's actually got them playing good football. I've saw the drills in Bangkok from little footage I've seen of training. Similar moves like this, where we're popping the ball around and then switching the play. And it seems like they get congested. They could suffocate, get teams congest a certain area, and then they have an outlet like Anthony or someone, like they did there with the ending move with Sancho getting a bit more space. So they've recycled the ball until one of their wingers or something or wide men can get a little space to go one-on-one and drive, because there's no point Sancho driving here, is there? He's intelligent enough there, right? Play it back and we can go again, recycle until I can get a move where I can drive at someone or sort of get a crossing or something like that.
I know.
Really intelligent play.
Even here, when Delo gets the ball, we've got Anthony able to attack the near post, and we've got Ericsson coming in between Lokonga and Saliba, and we've got enough players in the centre to win that ball back and recycle it without balls. What Varane is doing in the Kevin De Bruyne, Trent Alexander half space, I've no idea, but it's effective. Like it's just incredible. So do we have some comments to go through?
Yeah, let's touch on a few comments because we've got a few people in chatting now. Let's see. So Devil's Rising is Reese, isn't it? Reese, sorry. He's saying the only thing though was on Sunday we played a single pivot, not a double pivot this time.
At times we played a single pivot, but for about 80% of the match it was a double pivot.
SHAH United, who was at the game, so obviously you can see the whole pitch. SHAH saying Ericsson was the conductor throughout the game, Varane, Ericsson and Bruno. I want to say hi to Rich Sports. How you doing, Rich Sports? Everyone should know Rich Sports. If you don't know Rich Sports, go get to know, subscribe to his channel. He's saying hi to everyone in the comments and the two of us. SHAH's also saying we were very vocal. Obviously, he was at the game. You could hear this in organisation and direction throughout the whole match. Very, very good game. So he's delighted. Devil's Rising again saying, if we have a man in the middle, in midfield, near back three, I would rather Dalot be nowhere near. We need someone who's able to attack the flank. Again, he's saying Anthony times Ericsson times Varane times Martinez are so key. Casemiro over time will be as well. Also want to say hi to Christine Howley. How you doing? She said, good evening. Really enjoyed watching the eye test. It's a great show. Totally agree with you, Christine. Devil's Rising saying players tracking teammates' movements in defensive and attacking transitions is key.
I want to stop you there. That's not whilst I respect Reese, I think that is that's an erroneous statement. We're using a spatial block. We're not using man marking at all. we'll be showing it later in the game. I'm sorry, Reese, if I've misinterpreted what you've said because I'm not quite sure what it means. But the whole reason that we're doing so well is that we are in a block, and we're going to show you later in the show why the block is also so important to attacking. So don't feel I've picked you up like I've picked on you there, Reese. It's important to the show that everyone's on the same page.
So I want to say hi to King's Football Show. How you doing, man? Welcome. Saying big up the panel. Well played. You deserve to win. Thank you so much. Andrew Williams, how you doing? He says, it makes a difference when you've got disciplined players playing in front of the back four. Rich Sports is saying we look comfortable in the end. I want to say hi to Tyrone Williams, just coming on his comments now. The 18 pass move before Anthony's opener was unbelievable. We have seen a different brand of Football United. People like Souness conveniently failed to give United credit for that opening goal. And sorry, it's just a couple more that have been jumping in. Oh, there's a few more now. I want to say hi to Gavin Ward as well. He said, weird that some people thought Rashi was having a quiet game until he scored. I thought Rashi's movement off the ball was excellent. He's creating space for others. Most people wouldn't have said that. I even wouldn't have said that a few weeks ago. I wasn't aware that he could play this role. But yeah, I do kind of agree with him. His movement's creating space. And Vincent, I've said hi to Vincent, but he says 23 in the likes. Yeah, if you don't mind pressing the like button, guys, that would be great.
All right, and shout out to Rich. I think I'm coming on his channel on Friday to do a similar thing for the Real Sociedad game. So like and subscribe to Rich Sports.
Most certainly.
And I think it's probably time to show our goal, isn't it, Omundi?
Let's do it. Let's do it. Come on. What a way to on your debut to score.
Oh, absolutely. It's the stuff that dreams are made of.
Yes.
I haven't got the entire 22 passes or whatever it was because I don't have the time to animate all of that. But talk us through this, Omundi, if you can see it.
All right, before we do, you want to say at some point Arsenal have to give the ball away for us to score. So I don't know where you're starting from. I haven't seen these graphics yet, but I do think it was like a really quick, fluid move through the middle, some key passes, penetrating passes that create the space for us to score the goal. And I was looking at Arsenal defense's line as well, because I've been tracking, I'm a defender anyway, but from these shows we've been doing with Bath Time, I am sort of always observing the Arsenal back line and how they might be at a fall and how they're getting out of shape. So yeah, really interesting goal. Let's have a look at this. So is that a goal kick or is that De Gea?
No, this is us playing the ball back.
Okay.
From here. So we've already done a lot of passes.
So recycle time. And he's out. Oh my God. Nosebleed time for De Gea's off his line.
Yeah.
All right. So Martinez with his beautiful left foot wand plays it wide to Malacia, who's not afraid to recycle back to Eriksen, who drops in, plays it into Bruno. Bruno gets clapped there because the centre back comes out. Is that to try and mark him? Gabriel's out of position. Lovely through ball by Rashford. So number 4, I'm looking at Gabriel here. They're in a nice block here right now. What's the key pass here? The rotation. Eriksen, snap, quick ball, penetrating into Bruno. Gabriel gets drawn. Why? I don't know. Sancho to Rashford. Lovely finish. I mean, yeah, I'm sorry. I'm a defender, but I think what's highlighted to me, Gabriel, the defender, he's come out of his block. And coming out of your block will, unless you're going to get there first or foul the guy, is suicidal, as we saw with the goal that they scored. But yeah,
respect the block in it.
Yeah.
So
man.
What I really like about this goal is that, as we talked about in the when we showed the large clip of possession, United are not scared to reset. It's part of possession play where if you're not really getting anywhere, send it back to the keeper, get everyone to into their positions, and rotations begin again. And what's fantastic about the team is that we always talk about this triangle that United like to play, where here, like McTominay is acting as a single pivot with Varane and Martinez, and he's going up against Odegaard, Jesus, and Xhaka. But what happens as the ball comes in is that Jesus makes the decision to come and press Varane, and Odegaard and Xhaka are not disciplined enough to pin McTominay. Both of them should be here, which would force the ball out to Martinez, because you never want the ball to come into the centre of the pitch. You always want to shift it out wide. But De Gea doesn't quite read this and knocks it out to Martinez. And what's great about having a left foot is
Yeah, I'm about to say that.
how you're pressed, Omundi, is if you're pressed from the outside in, like this, you've got the ball to Eriksen, and if you're pressed inside to out, like so he runs along there, you can get the ball out to Malacia through your body position and turning. I might have said those the wrong way around, to be honest, but you get the idea.
Yeah.
So this gives us lots of tactical options. And what I'm very impressed with is Eriksen, right, has seen that Odegaard and Xhaka are basically man-to-man, and Lokonga is trying to pick up Sancho in the centre. And this is what an experienced midfielder does. He drops. He drops because Lokonga has left him. Xhaka is being pinned by Scott. And when you know where the two pivots are, and this one isn't on you, you know you've got a man three, and it's most likely to be Bruno, because Bruno should be in the half space or operating between the lines, and you can see that we're nice and narrow. So Eriksen is already seeing what's going on, and as a midfielder, I can't tell you how incredible this is, because he's not only is he identifying the future, like of threats that he can cause. He's seen Final Destination on Monday, and he knows we need to make a 3.
Yes.
He knows he's got to get back, and you can make a 3. And if I would love to be able to just process these situations so quickly. So now
it takes a lot.
It's huge, isn't it? Lokonga, who did not have a good game, is completely out of position from the block because you're able to play it through the lines now. You'd never see McTominay and Eriksen leave that gap there.
Just to add, I think like you've got McTominay and Eriksen in midfield, two sort of different players, but they're both able to recognise and be in the right position at the right time. Like Eriksen dropping off, you'd say, oh, that should be Scott because he's more defensive, or he's a bigger guy. He's the one who should drop off. But Eriksen's got no fear. A former number 10, former player plays at the final third to understand this role. So this is brilliant how he can drop in there and pick up the ball like this and play beautiful passes.
This is also class from McTominay. Now, to all those people who talk about McTominay hiding, you'll always know that I talk about how his job is to pin two central midfielders. McTominay has moved in to this area here to try and get Lokonga and Xhaka on him. And what does that mean?
Space.
The space to Bruno. This is a team goal. Everyone's involved from the space they're taking up, and this is what we would have seen from De Jong. I think this kind of play, and then it gets played into Bruno, and I love this from Anthony. Like Anthony, who was here, has gone backwards, and sometimes in football, to make space, you need to go backwards because Saliba, no one's on Bruno, and Saliba's come out. Gabriel's come out. Ben White's man-to-man. Zinchenko doesn't know what he's doing. It doesn't have a clue. And it's Zinchenko. Zinchenko's at fault for the goal. And now look at this. For some reason, Lokonga has rushed in here. So they've got a line. He's realised
too late Eriksen's peeled off him. And for some reason, he's gone to close him down there. Sort of thing Fred would do.
It's absolutely disgusting because look, this block also is is like 3/4 the length of the pitch. That means it can be passed through easily. Xhaka, bless him, is trying to make a block with Saka, but Malacia has stayed out wide and has pulled it through. So there's Eriksen could have hit that ball into Sancho as well. This is awful from Arsenal. Rashford gets into the space. You would love Bruno to do it, but if we just take it back one frame before Rashford's movement, this is how Gabriel gets sucked where he shouldn't be. Yeah. And Zinchenko doesn't really know what to do. So Gabriel has got sucked in here, and he knows he's got to make a tactical foul.
Yeah.
And to be honest, the best thing that Arsenal can do is foul Bruno here. That's exactly what they do. But the ref plays on. And then Zinchenko, you're the defender, Omundi. I think that this is a terrible position. Rashford has like 3 men on, all these guys are going to collapse on him in nanoseconds. I think that Zinchenko should hold a bit of width instead of going in,
I
because then
disagree.
this happens. You disagree? Okay.
Yeah. I think he's right to sort of remember he was late. He was out of sorts
Yeah.
there, but he had to keep the compact. If someone's going wide, so be it. But he's got to stop. This is the zone that you talk about, isn't he? He's trying to
Yeah,
protect
so
that.
this is like zone 16 here,
Yeah,
and he is trying to protect it, but I mean, maybe Martinelli's got to break himself to get back in this situation. I think Martinelli has, but Zinchenko, he does neither to me. He's late getting in, and then he
but
leaves
but
the space.
but let's be real here. I think Gabriel, he's covering for Gabriel
Yeah,
there. Gabriel sold him out, so he had to really cover that space that Gabriel left.
and
To
this
breaking
is
the
the
block.
advantage of a false nine, by the way. Like, the centre backs want to be here,
Yeah,
but they've had to come in because of Rashford's movement. I know Andrew is probably going wild in the comments at any kind of Rashford praise, but just doing the basics gets you a long way in football. Only one person can use their technique at a time. The rest is about movement, work rate, positioning, and understanding the plan. And
great
Rashford
point.
has understood the plan here. And you can also see that if Bruno plays the ball forward, we have a rest defence here.
Yeah,
Like, we can send Delo and we can send Malacia to go in and counter. To counter press or to get into
yeah.
situations to do it, and we're still beautifully protected in the centre of the pitch. So I'll play it one more time, Monday, and then we should probably hit some comments, I would suspect.
Yeah, for sure. What's the name? Paul Congo. Yeah, that's disappointing.
He
Why
had a
is he
bad
going
game.
in there? Yeah. Gabriel, suicide. They're calling offside, but obviously he wasn't offside. It's just the graphics.
Yeah, he might be in these graphics, to be
Yeah.
honest. Like,
Guess what? Andrew Williams is saying it. Andrew Williams called offside.
yeah, to be honest,
Yeah.
I'm more concerned about getting the celebration in than making sure that they're on side. Like, check this.
I'm disappointed by half time. You knew that SHAH and Paddy were at the game, and Andy Tate, but you didn't bring them on this time.
I
But yeah,
didn't bring them on. I'll bring Tatey on and his Transformer toys next week.
You got the touch.
Yes.
Wow, that's a beautiful goal. Really beautiful goal. Should we go for some comments?
Let's go through some comments before we get on to the meat of the show.
Okay. So, Andrew, we were talking about Rashford, weren't we? We were saying, I don't think it's weird. I thought Rashford was crap, apart from the goals and assists. Box is saying Rashford looked better when Ronaldo came on. Tyrone again is saying at Rich Sports, Arsenal didn't dominate possession, but Eric Ten Hag wanted him to do that. It played into their hands. I'm glad he's our manager. It's lovely to see Tyrone happy again. Box is saying as a number nine, and the cameos off the bench of Martial versus Liverpool, Ronaldo versus Leicester and Arsenal show that we're better suited to. Show they're better suited to a centre forward role. Rashford can compete with Sancho for the left spot.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%.
Reese is saying no one can move like Anthony in our team. Straight up fact. And Rich Sports is saying Anthony looks so comfortable in possession. Looking forward to seeing a lot more. Agree. Andrew Williams saying, Vaughan, have you done analysis on Saka, Martinelli, dangerous moments from them?
Well, Andrew. Yeah. Well, I have, yes.
Box is saying McTominay is unpinnable. I want to say to our Dutch correspondent, Vincent, how you doing, Vincent? Welcome to the show. I'm glad you're following our journey with your Dutch manager. He's saying, slowly I see the Ajax system in the Man United team. After Arsenal, Eric Ten Hag could explain it better in detail for Dutch TV. So he also gave a Dutch interview, especially the relationship he wants between Anthony and Delo. Interesting, that.
Mm.
I would love to
I'm
have
really
that trend.
excited to see like Delo fight. Like our right hand side has just been chopped and changed like more than anything. So to see a settled partnership on that flank, I'm really excited about.
Tyron Williams is saying, I have been McTominay's biggest critic at Man United, called for him to be sold, but he was flawless against Arsenal. His improvement under Eric Ten Hag is encouraging. Devils Rise and say, good thing Antonio Conte is a genius for playing Eriksen in a deeper role. The only manager to recognise this trait in him, which Eric Ten Hag is benefiting from. Also wanted to say, we said about offside. There's a joke here from HD Gamer. How you doing, HD Gamer? Saying Anthony found himself in space without Elon Musk. Cosman saying, I'm glad Eric Ten Hag is not stubborn, stuck with his philosophy and loses games. Box is saying, Rich, we look like we have competition with starting places now. Vincent saying, I'm not Dutch, I'm English. And what's Andrew saying here? Rich, if you don't run when we're at our worst, I won't rate you when we're at our best. I will not change my mind on Marcus. He's a coward. So obviously Anthony's not convinced yet on the eye test.
That was Andrew. He's he's
excuse me.
co-opted a Marilyn Monroe quote to somehow dish Marcus Rashford, which is impressive, I think.
What's the Marilyn Monroe?
If you don't love me at my worst, you don't deserve me at my best.
Okay, that went over my head. I didn't catch that one, but
yeah, well, divas recognise divas.
Would Andrew be big enough to sort of say that he got it wrong? Maybe if
yes, he would. Like if Andrew's he's gone back on all. I think it's just Luke Shaw is the only person that Andrew will never turn back to. Luke Shaw could save the world from the Marshmallow Man by eating him, and Andrew would have none of it.
Oh, dear.
Aha! All right, I forget what's next, Monday. Are we going to talk about the fullbacks or playing out from the back?
All right, so we've just done the first goal, and obviously what that involved for Man United. So now we're going to talk about how Arsenal got back in the game, and the goalkeeper distribution.
Okay, cool. Right, if you just give me a second, and hopefully I've selected
1-0 to Man United. I was buzzing at this point. I thought that goal was brilliant. After all that kind of good possession play that we showed early in the game in the 15 minutes, and we just showed you the graphic of as well, to score a goal like that, and you saw how we sort of moved their defence around and opened them up, made their players sort of trace the ball and lose their shape and come out of their block. That's how we scored a brilliant goal there. So yeah, we worked the ball really well. So I'm really proud of the team. But obviously Arsenal are top team, aren't they? They're a really good side. And
yes.
They got back into the game and showed a bit of character. And so yeah, there's a reason why they got back in the game.
All right.
Really.
So I believe that the reason that Arsenal got back in the game has a lot to do with our inability to play out from the back, which I know that that's not a shocker, like that's nothing new. But we're going to show you the difference between Arsenal and United playing out from the back. And we've got a clip up here, Monday. I obviously can't see the screen. Is it showing?
Yeah, we're up. We're going live.
All right, so this is a United set piece. Talk us through it on Monday, and then we'll go through what's going on.
So the set piece is the goal kick. So obviously the defender can pick it up from the inside the goal area. He's passed it wide to Dalot, but suddenly Dalot's swamped. He's got his head up. There's nowhere to go, and we've given the ball away from Arsenal's really good press there. And once again, it comes to Dalot, and he's played it down the channel, and it's gone to nobody. So really dangerous, really, to giving the ball away so easily. Can't even progress it up the field.
There is some really good stuff. There's some really good stuff from Arsenal here, to be honest. You can see that United, United do a thing, right, where we split the centre-backs, we look about for a bit, David De Gea waves his arms about, and we all rush up the pitch because we're going long. Here, it looks like we might be trying to hit this space here.
Plenty of it.
Yeah, plenty of it. But I think because we've only got Jesus here, Scott's unmarked, but you know he's going to get marked, and we've got fullbacks out wide. we should be able to play out of this. But Arsenal do something very, very clever, which is if the ball side centre back is Varane, so if the guy on the ball is Varane, you would expect Martinelli to do the pressure, wouldn't you, Omundi?
Yep, that's Martin's number 7. Yeah.
You think watch who does the pressure.
Jesus, is that?
It's
Yeah.
Jesus. So what Jesus does is he curves his run around like this. Martinelli tries to force Delo out that way. Let me get my pen back. So, hang on, let's delete all of this. So professional tonight. So, and then
that's a brilliant spot with Jesus' run.
Yeah, and Jesus is also stopping any pass back to the keeper. You can see that Odegaard has pushed up onto the pivot. Anthony, there's space here though. There's space here to get through, but Martinelli hasn't this time. Do you remember how we talked about how Varane had to commit the wide midfielder with dribbling?
Yep.
He doesn't do it here. If you watch it again, Martinelli's too savvy, and he doesn't break the block. He doesn't go in, and when you don't break the block, it means that you have to go out wide into areas where you can lose the ball. And they've gone man to man. Like, I don't know how fast Zinchenko is, but as someone who's played football, I'm fairly sure that Zinchenko can stop Anthony getting ahead of him from that position. You just get your arm across and things. Delo's not Trent Alexander-Arnold, so he's not hitting that space there, and he's not hitting that space there. And we're in trouble because we're unable to get out. So he just has to line ball it.
Lines.
Yeah. Saliba cleans up. You can see there's a good counter-pressing structure here from Arsenal, or they're much more likely to win it. And Eriksen has come into the space. So Scott is now the single pivot with the lads here, and this is not a fun position to be in. Arsenal could have taken advantage of this, but they don't. And what I'm really pleased about is Eriksen breaks himself to get back in the centre. He knows he's made a positional mistake, and he does. Unlike Fred, he looks backwards and sees that he's got to get in there, and he goes to it. And then Varane gets the ball. Martinez tidies up, but we've got exactly the same problem. There's literally no way out. And so when the ball gets... So we have to play it down the line. We have to boot it. And then McTominay finally gets it. And after a bit of a scuffle, it goes out for a throw-in. But this comes back to the reason why Ten Hag likes to be so narrow. Because we're so useless at getting the ball out of defence that we need more players in these kind of areas when the ball side is here in order to win the ball back. And it means that we're not progressing as far up the pitch. So I'll share it one more time if you've got any comments on it.
Yeah, I didn't notice that run by Jesus, and you've always said about the bended run, cuts out other guys to cover shadow. It's really, it's risky business, man. It's good. It's pressure situation. There's a fullback there when you're looking up and you're getting pressed like that. For one thing, for defenders, you have to be accountable. You can't give the ball away like a midfielder would give the ball away. You know,
excuse me.
You heard.
All right. Okay.
You have to be accountable. You get the ball away, people through on goal. I think midfielders like yourself, even though I think you've got good retention of the ball, Darius, but I think midfielders can give the ball away, take a risk sometimes, you know. But defenders cannot afford to do that. So you either get it out long, hit it down by the channel, clear the ball, because giving the ball away there or trying a little something there is not going to work because you're going to get slaughtered by the manager.
Yeah, I mean the only two things that you can really do here if you're Delo is buy a free kick or win a throw-in to relieve pressure, which leads us nicely on to our next clip. If I remember all my buttons, I've remembered them, which is how Arsenal keep the ball, and it comes from a Delo throw-in. So do you see that? That's professional grade links. So do you want to talk us through this?
Okay.
Just
Yeah.
after I shout out the rest defence. There you go, lads.
All right. So we've got the ball. It's a throw into Man United. It's been turned over here. So Gabriel's got the ball now. Pops it into the number 6. They play it back, recycle it back to the keeper, and we're trying to press, but they picked out the man. The keeper has actually picked out the right back, who's well forward. It's Ben White, I think. They've recycled it again. It's gone back, and he's once again the goalkeeper's able to hit. That's a long pass. That's like 30, 40 yards, maybe.
Mm.
Twice he's picked him out.
Yeah, the Ben White escape is something that we saw all match, and
Wow. And that's from the
Arteta,
goalkeeper.
yeah, Arteta's taken that straight out of Pep's handbook. Like Man City's one of Man City's plans is to do that all the time. So this is what separates Man United from like the real possession teams at the moment. Because when we look at our setup from the throw-in, we're absolutely fine. Like throw-ins are. I know Box, happy birthday Box, is in chat. I know me and Box get very cross about throw-ins because we can never do them properly. But we yeet one into Rashford, right? It's a bit stupid, but I quite like the fact that Bruno it has come back from an offside position because it gives Zinchenko and Saliba something to think about. But so we get it in and we lose the ball because we don't know enough about throw-ins. Now, what United do here is, to be honest, pretty textbook. This is exactly what you would expect a proper team to do. Like, Saliba has dropped back, and even though it's a bit risky, Lokonga is a single pivot. Saliba and Gabriel have built a platform to recycle on. You really have to trust your players here to do this in this proximity, but they're Premier League players, so maybe you don't. I would never trust the lads that I play with to do this. Now,
I agree.
yeah, do you know what I mean? Like, now this is where the really fun stuff happens. Sancho is pulling in to Gabriel. Bruno is going to curve his run to try.
To say that. Yeah.
Have you noticed? He's
I
started to
just
do it.
before that. Yeah, I was about to say that.
Bruno's going to curve his run. Anthony is kind of using his cover shadow to block any ground passes out here.
Yeah.
So if Ramsdale wants to take a touch and go out here, Anthony's got it on lockdown. And we have Scott and Ericsson on the players that are essentially acting as pivots. And we've got good cover shadows all here to stop balls in the centre. So this is good. So Bruno runs in.
Do you think that this is planned to sort of make us to give the only option to Ben White, considering he's a centre back playing at right back, and that less penetration from him, maybe? Or do you...
I think, all right. So what this is about, right, is that we have a backline of 4 with a double pivot in front of it. So what we're doing is we're protecting the centre if they go long. If in doubt in football, protect the centre of the pitch. And we're allowing, these are the 3 men, basically White and Zinchenko, and Arsenal have to work to get it to them. When we saw Brentford and Brighton do a man-to-man press, and this is similar to a man-to-man press, I would personally, I think that Anthony could just be a little bit tighter, but he's not wildly out of position. He knows the system. He's just getting used to his teammates. I'd like him to be on the same line as Sancho because I like symmetry. But this is when we talked about the right to play Omundi. You need to be able to show as a team that you can bang it out to these players here, or we're gonna press you all match.
Yeah, and that's true.
Here, this is really good from United. We've pressed their back line with 4 players in a diamond. We've got everything protected, but because of the keeper's tech, he's able to get it out to Ben White. And what I love about this is Sancho, who I don't think is playing particularly well, shows why. Since only one person can have the football at a time, he shows how important work rate, determination, and effort is. He gets back and he holds White up. So he stops them here, and we're able to reset because
Can I see that?
yeah,
How he holds him up, please?
he just runs to him.
Right.
And he also, as he runs in, he tries to stop the pass back to Gabriel because
Yeah.
for some reason Ben White, he doesn't want to play it in. Jesus against a Jamie Vardy, you would have seen a run like that, and a Salah or Mane or whoever plays out here would have made that run. But the movement off the ball isn't great for Arsenal here, so they have to turn it back inside. And then we've got our high block here of 4 ready to go in, and we're actually too protected here. We could
Mm-hmm.
do with Delo and Malacius being slightly wider and maybe a bit higher. But then these guys do it to us again. We've done so well here. Bruno is blocking the pass to Gabriel. Saliba does not want that ball. You do not want to play that ball into Zinchenko because Rashford
As
is
we
coming
found out,
through.
I bet against Brentford.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And the thing is if we just had like Malacia or someone here, we could push McTominay or we could push Ericsson up into this space and really squeeze them. But not everything we're going to do is perfect. But then Ramsdale takes a touch and hits Ben White again. And the difference between United and Arsenal is down to the goalkeeper. We've seen in the first 15 minutes how well United were able to keep and recycle the ball. What we have a problem with is building out from the back, and this is why I don't like De Gea. All right, because he costs you on this. Like Ramsdale doesn't have half the attributes that De Gea has, but he's able to form a back three, and he's able to get it
Yeah.
out. And this is why that we're lacking in possession compared to everyone else. But
And
on the flip side,
that back
mhm,
three as a goalkeeper coming up gives us an extra number up the pitch.
yes. But the advantage to all of this, and you know that we like to look for the silver lining on the eye test, is that United are becoming very multifaceted. We've got much more we're much better at all the different blocks than our top 6
Yeah,
rivals.
for
Basically,
sure.
because De Gea makes us play all of them because he can't
Yeah.
kick. Comments time, I think, isn't it? Unless you've got something to tell me.
This is just really, really insightful. I find this when you compare the two blocks, it's just we're not
Yeah,
here
go
roasting
back.
the game or anything else.
No,
We're
no,
just
no.
saying we're just highlighting the difference between a good goalkeeper that can kick and if we had a goalkeeper and the one that can't in the gear. And if we did have a goalkeeper that can get us up the pitch by kicking, and based on the possession that we had earlier, we would have more possession, which people like to say they like to judge games on possession. Oh, the other team had more possession, they're better than you, which isn't always a fact, as I'm sure we could go on to. But yeah, let's go through some comments because there's a lot of people chatting.
Oh God, is chat angry with me about something? Let's see.
No, it's all. So Andrew Williams saying predicting the future in football is tough, but the very best tool we have is studying the past. My gut feeling about Rashford, he's on Rashford again. Even at his very best, he was one-dimensional and very inconsistent.
I'd like to
He's
give a
also saying,
shout out to Andrew here because as something I say all the time is the best form of future performance is past performance, and he's right. But we'll get on to Rashford. His time's coming, Andrew. Just prepare
he
yourself.
says, he says, additionally, if a player does not care if you win or lose, that's a character flaw that will reoccur. Saying time and time again, Marcus, I don't think it hurts him when we lose. I never want him, so he's not a fan of Marcus Rashford. Rich Sports is saying the assists are big positives for Rashford. I was very disappointed with him last season. Andrew Williams against him, basically play against a low block against Rashford, and he's doing nothing. It's been criticism laid against him because he prefers space in behind. Andrew Williams saying, agreed to HG Gamer, the assists were very good because he showed very good weight of pass. I'm impressed by that. Boxer saying Sancho became anonymous for me in the second half. Andrew Williams saying Marcus is a talent and is not without merits. However, if you want a guy that's going to be a 7 out of 10 every week, he isn't your guy. All right, so there's a lot of Rashford stuff there. Let's move on.
Yeah, Andrew's really going in.
I know. Stuart Marshall saying good evening. How you doing, man? He goes to most home games and away games as well, so he's a good expert about what's happening on the pitch. HG Gamer saying, I remember Arsenal maybe before or after they scored, they're playing very so tasty, dangerous football that Ten Hag probably wants us to play eventually. So Box is saying, sure, took 10 seconds
Yeah.
to take a photo. I want to say hi all the way in Australia, Mark Edmund, man. How you doing,
Shout
Mark?
out
He
to
said,
Mark.
"Oh, good morning, gents. Good day." He says, "I'm very excited for this. Great to have you here, Mark." Gavin Ward saying, "Do you think David De Gea will get better at his distribution?" Maybe you can answer this, or do you think it's gone too far? I assume this is why De Gea lost his place in the Spanish team as well. Do you want to just quickly answer that?
Yeah, to talk on that, I mean, De Gea has
Yeah.
lost his place in the Spanish team because of his inability to play out from the back. And I was chatting to Omundi in our pre-production show, because we worked very hard on this show, about how on pre-season we used Alex Telles as a centre-back. And how against Southampton we had we had Alangi playing in the half spaces that we saw Anthony took up. And I think what we're going to see is Dubravnik, if that's his name, the new goalkeeper, in training and in the sort of like the lesser cup games or whenever he plays, being used to prepare the team to play with a passing goalkeeper in the same way that we use Telles to prepare the team for a left-footed centre-back. So I do actually think that Ten Hag is moving the board to replace De Gea, whether it's this summer or next summer. I mean, he's I don't know if you know what a coelacanth is, Amonde. It's that prehistoric fish that no one can believe.
Sorry. I think it's something to do with plumbing.
No,
Sorry.
coelacanth. A coelacanth was a prehistoric fish that everyone thought had been extinct, and then they found it in Madagascar, and that's basically what De Gea is. Okay. He's a coelacanth. He's just a dinosaur, and
so
he's
the
going
question there, Gavin's asked you: do you think he can get better at his distribution?
No, I don't.
Why not? What is it? Confidence? Is it just doesn't have the ability to do it?
I mean, it's like saying Messi's really good with his left foot. Do you think he's going to get better than his right foot? The man's in his 30s. He's played most of his football career. He hasn't demonstrated this, and also I think De Gea is very conceited in a lot of what he says. He seems to think that because he played a bit of five-a-side when he was younger, that he can use his feet, and it reminds me of Joe Hart at Man City when Pep took over. Joe Hart is now playing for Celtic. And everyone was amazed that Joe Hart was shipped out, but he couldn't improve his distribution, and maybe it's to do with mentality and work rate and humbleness. And the one thing I know De Gea has a lot of is hubris and not a lot of clean sheets. So I hope that answers your question, Gavin.
Okay, going on. Box saying De Gea seems resistant to change, or maybe he can't adapt. So he agrees with you. MK saying, but isn't this why we got De Gea? Because he was more of a modern keeper 11 years ago.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry, but it was a long time ago, and I thought that at the time as well. I thought, okay, this guy can kick. Mark Edmonds saying Anthony is narrow because Shevchenko moves inside into midfield.
I don't think that's the case.
No. Boxer saying Emma K. I think De Gea's distribution has declined. It was never the best, but it was better than it was now. Rich Sports is saying I think he tried in the Brentford game. Box about De Gea. Andrew Williams saying it's because Ben White, they're not going to move for him.
He's taken no prisoners tonight, Andrew, is he? Just everyone's getting
it. He's having fun. Box is saying Emma K. Not sure Luis Enrique felt De Gea wasn't able to adjust. And any more? Here we go. Box is saying De Gea's inability to ever claim a high ball or cross to relieve pressure or come off his line is also a hindrance. There's another diss there. So I want to say hi to Super Nick. Welcome, Super Nick. How you doing, girl? My Twitter friend, musical friend. I'm sure it's you. It is you. Of course it's you. She's saying time will tell, because she said earlier she was looking forward to the show, if you remember. So Super Nick, welcome, and I'm glad you're a regular now. She's saying time will tell whether Erik ten Hag is the master of making the best out of what he has, and we already see how the players are becoming more fluid in play and less static, which is miles away from previous managers. That's a good comment. Thank you. And Rebel Red is in the house saying, I disagree with the criticism of De Gea. We are ungrateful for his immense service to the club, especially considering that he's one of the best keepers in the world. I would like.
Whilst I respect Rebel's opinion, and everyone, like, look, lads, we're not going to cry if someone's got a different opinion to us. You can say that we're idiots and all that, and no one's going to get upset with you. A lot of this is your opinion, Rebel, which I respect, but one of the best keepers in the world, he's not in the top 4 keepers in Spain, and that's a fact because he's not in their squad. And like, immense ungrateful for his service. You might be right there, because I'm extremely ungrateful for De Gea's service. I feel he's been holding the team back for 4 or 5 years, and the proof in the pudding, I think, is that if ETH replaces him, and I'm fairly sure that pieces are being moved for a different keeper to come in.
And I think just because someone's had a good service at the club, you say immense service to the club. I don't think that's when what we're highlighting here is that we're showing Arsenal keeper and how he can help bring the ball out and play long passes that reaches his target, compared to us where we're struggling and we're giving the ball away at the 3rd, 4th pass. You know, that's a big difference. I think if we had a keeper with better kicking ability than De Gea, despite his immense service to the club, I think we would improve a lot, and I think that's what the manager requires as well. So it's not a diss of De Gea. Yeah, he's been player of the, like, clubman player of the year a few times now, hasn't he? I think he's breaking records. But yeah,
we need to move on.
With the attribute
we need to say thank you very much and move him on, because what he's good at as a goalkeeper is no longer like what is like a minimum requirement for a goalkeeper, and we've just seen it with Ramsdale able to get them out of our press.
But big up Rebel Red. I mean, that's true. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of sentiment there for De Gea, and I do agree. He has been there for a long time, and does make some.
Yeah, no, I respect that from Rebel Red. As I say, no one's going to get upset if we have different opinions. We can deal with you having another view to us. It's all right.
And the thing is, me and Bath Time bump heads as well, and we're still friends.
All the time, but he's finally realised that, like, McTominay is actually a very important player.
We'll say hi to can we say hi to Miss Melina, the wonderful Miss Melina, all the way from Canada, Arsenal fan as well. But we got love and respect for you, unlike some other Arsenal fans. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed the game, Melina. Andrew Williams saying, Rebel, I'm a big fan of the game. He's referring to Rebel now, but he has 2 very obvious weaknesses, which is distribution and handling crosses. Stuart Marshall saying, big up De Gea, still number 1. So he's a backup of De Gea as well. Andrew would say, my honest view of De Gea is that we know his strengths and weaknesses. We need to hide his weaknesses and enhance his strengths. And Boxer saying, De Gea was a world-class keeper between 2012 2018, but he's declined. He's on a lot of money a week. He's not above any critique. I'm going to leave it there for now.
Yeah, I think we can bury the De Gea chat, because we've done that segment of the show now, but that's just because we want to show you like more stuff. But De Gea is a big issue, and I believe earlier on in the show, Omundi, that Andrew wanted to talk about how dangerous Arsenal looked when they were attacking our fullbacks.
Yeah, he was talking about the wide men, that was a big battle, wasn't it? So, are you ready to go? You're on screen.
I believe I am. Okay.
Yeah, you're on. Let's go.
So now
this is about
it's the second half. Anthony's come off for Ronaldo, and you can see, even though they're the enemy, we got to shout out a rest defence whenever we see one.
Well done, Arsenal.
So, do you want to talk us through this, Omundi?
Okay, so Arsenal in possession. They played it back to a sort of inverted Shevchenko, plays it inside to the middleman, Bambi. Xhaka's done a little spin, peeled it back wide to Martinelli. Sort of drives inside a little bit, holding up the play. Then goes little 1-2 of Jesus, and he's got nowhere to go. He's surrounded by Manchester United players there. Top player Martinelli, the give and goes, and just drive. But yeah, this is he was kind of crowded out here from what I can see, just from the first time around. Yeah. What can he do there? Not much. Look at the numbers.
Yeah, so let's go through this. I don't think that any United fan would say that Delo or Malacia dominated Martinelli or Saka. Like Martinelli and Saka gave Delo and Malacia probably the hardest test that they've had in the Premier League. And remember, we have shipped 4 goals to Brentford in half an hour. So why does this matter? All right. The first thing is you can see that Arsenal are playing with width. So they're trying to stretch the play and they're trying to get gaps in between our centre backs. They're trying to get gaps in between our blocks. And if we maintain shape, that means that Martinelli and Delo, with Xhaka and Odegaard, can double up on our fullbacks. So that's kind of their game plan. So what
Similar to Man
happens?
City.
Yeah, exactly. It's exactly the same as Man City. Now, what we have here is actually a really good shape. We got something called the double V. I don't know if it's called that, but that's what I call it. Where we have this area blocked, and we also have this area blocked. So we've got a huge amount of players
16.
in the centre of the pitch. Exactly. And we've also, just to be annoying, we've got a player who's, although Ronaldo's not very good with his back to goal in build up, he can win a header. And we've got Rashford up here as well. So Arsenal are a little bit concerned about this, and they're not able to close the gap between the lines because of the fear that Ronaldo and Rashford, quite rightfully, as we'll see later, carry. But because we've got this block here, Scott is able to go out on Zinchenko. Now, when we talked about bending runs earlier with Bruno Omundi, he hasn't done it here. As a midfielder, you press like that in this situation.
That's the block, the pass into
Yes.
Xhaka. Yeah,
Yep.
number 8. Okay.
Because the reason why is that there's like, you've got Eriksen and Varane behind you ready to step up, and you've got enough people here. And what a decent central midfielder does, or what I would do, is you drag back and you recycle, which is what United were doing in the first half. Like, when there was pressure, we would do it. So Bruno, despite the fact that he's a number 10 or a free 8 or an attacking midfielder, he should. It's fine details win you matches, and he should be pressing in the correct way. But it's a team game. Bruno doesn't do it properly, and it gets out to Xhaka. Okay, that's fine. They're in between our lines now, which is okay, but this I'm not happy about. Malacia and Martinez are out of position here, which is fine if they get back into position, but Varane and Delo have come out to help Bruno. Right? They're putting pressure on Xhaka, and once again, I think Xhaka, in a really elite player, sends this home.
Right.
Because we've pulled 4 players here, and you can go wide with White and Saka and start again. But Xhaka's a good player. He's not an elite player. So McTominay holds him up, which is key to this. And now, this is where the exciting stuff happens. So, against Southampton, we talked about how McTominay was coming in to make a back 3, and how Eriksen was clogging up the half space area here. On McTominay's side, so with the ball side here, this is McTominay's side, we're going to see exactly the same thing, where we're going to see Eriksen drop in to make the back 3. So, Martinelli, Scott comes out. This is beautiful. We have blocked that area there. We've got a good V here. Sancho is really helped out by coming to pick up Odegaard, because that means that Malacia has less to worry about with Saka. Like, if Sancho's here, such as like, if Sancho's here or where Rashford is, and this is what you'd expect from someone like Greenwood, for example, this situation over here is problematic.
For sure.
And so when you look at this, you can see the triangles that Arsenal have. They have one here, they have one here, and they have one here. Right? The triangles allow you to rotate and resist the press. Up here, you've got to do magic to get through this block. Once again, the ball should be sent home and it should be sent out here.
As we
But
saw from Man United in that previous
exactly,
possession.
exactly.
Yeah.
But Martinelli's a good player and Jesus is a good player and they work it through. And I'd just like to point out, Ericsson is here. He's come in as a centre back. So we got the 3 back here.
Insurance.
We've got like Bruno. I would prefer to be here, and Ronaldo. Although Ronaldo had a good game, it's details that make a difference, and I'd like Ronaldo there.
Yeah.
Like the thing is Lokonga's scared of him though, so Lokonga isn't running past him. Like the Arsenal team are scared of what Ronaldo can do, quite rightly. And then this is beautiful from United. We've got Bruno and Scott here and Sancho in this triangle. That means that anything pulled back into this area here, we've got a chance of winning. If you try for a pullback, it's got to get past it's got to get past Martinez, and he's got to get ahead of Sancho. At the back post, we're very well protected. And to be fair, if Delo, and Delo also can't. Sorry, who is this guy? Martinelli. Martinelli can't really get it out to Jesus, and if he gets that ball across there, he's a footballing magician. Like it's unbelievable if he gets it across there. And what I'm going to say now is that United are more likely to score from this position than Arsenal are.
Yes.
Because Rashford has got in between 2 centre backs. The ball's most likely to be lost there, and you can pump it here, and Rashford will win that race. So Arsenal, despite the fact they have a rest defence, it's too high because their whole team is too high. They should have done what United did, which was to send the ball backwards, recycle, and get the United backline to push up, because you are never scoring through here. So the point of all of this, and I'll keep playing it. The point of all of this is, even though Saka and Martinelli looked like they were getting the better of a fullbacks, the defensive structure and organisation from Man United and the adherence to the block meant it was extremely unlikely that Arsenal were going to score. And this is controlling the game from the back.
I totally agree. Totally agree with you, bro.
Yeah. So do you have any comments on this? Because we got to show an Arsenal.
There's no comments.
Okay.
In the comment section, but you've explained it beautifully. I think I'm happy with that. It's all about our shape here, and they're up against 2 dangerous wingers. You have to give them credit. We're not dissing them at all. They're fantastic players. But like you say, like we saw in when we had possession, how we were able to recycle the ball and start again until we got the right time, right space to sort of drive at people.
Like, look here.
Arsenal can do the same.
This is the available space that isn't very much. So Arsenal have to send the ball back.
Yeah.
And City do this. You send the ball back, and you either aim to get our line up the pitch, or you switch it to another area, so that all these guys have to come over. There's a lot of lines. So with our back 4, you either want to push it up here, or you want to pull it out here. And the best way of doing that is for Lokonga to send it back to Gabriel and to recycle here, because then Ronaldo and Rashford push in, White is free or Saka's free, Odegaard can get in between the lines. This is why I'm now slightly dubious how well Arsenal are going to do in cups and the league, because they don't have enough skin in, they don't have enough time in the game playing this football to understand why it's not always forwards, why backwards and sideways is really important to break teams down.
Andrew Williams is saying very good analysis, Vaughan. I totally agree.
Thank you, Andrew. I hope that.
So when people are saying, Vaughan, that, we had a lot of possession, we were probing you, we were the better team, this is the answer to say maybe you might have been probing well, whatever, but we were setting up traps for you, and you couldn't break us down so much. You know, we were always good in good positions.
Well, I think I think we should probably we're running out of time because
Yeah.
Solo's very
Yeah.
very keen on us for time. I think this is where we're going to talk about the rest attack.
Yeah. Let's go.
Okay.
So we
So
know about the rest defense, for example.
yeah.
I mean, this is a this big thing in the show about the rest defense. So yeah, tell us all about the rest attack, please, Vaughan.
All right. So I'm gonna have to get this done. So um, right. When you are under pressure, let me get all these players in the right place. This is essentially how you counterattack. And I used to live in South America, and like any sane man, I would spend my winter holiday, which is our equivalent of a summer holiday, doing pre-season training in Argentina. And uh, I used to do counterattack training, and I've had a little look around today, and there's no real resources on. Let me get these players correct. There's no real resources on this, so this is all coming off a training session that I used to do in Argentina, but it works, and it's what I call the rest attack. So what you have here is you have a medium to high block, sorry, a
Yeah.
medium to low block under pressure. And you can see that the lines are compact and
Hmm.
together. Because what we're doing here is we're doing zonal marking. We're not concerned about any of the players. We're concerned about the space. So Shaka goes out here, you stay in position. You don't. Bruno doesn't go out. Delo doesn't go out because it opens gaps. Everyone has to stay in this position
I like
all the
this.
time. And what you are looking to do is two things. You are looking to get as many people as you can in between your lines, which sounds counterproductive. But when you know that there's players out wide and you see two players in between your lines, this is the signal that we're getting ready for the rest attack. Because here you see the rest defense.
Yep.
Shout out the rest defense. And now this is where the technical stuff happens. Ronaldo here, there's two ways he can pressure. He can pressure from this side, or he can pressure from that side. Right?
Yep.
Um, which side do you think would be the best way to pressure?
To the right.
This way?
Yep.
Okay. This is kind of true. Now, one of the reasons we spent so much money on Martinez is because if Martinez gets pressured straight on, that left foot pops it out there. We've seen it so many times.
Mm.
If Martinez gets pressured this way, that left foot finds the space in there. It's an elite ability. Um, so if you press here, you're inviting a ball into this space, and this is where cover shadows are so important. This is for one of McTominay's big issues to me was his cover shadow. He didn't use it to properly block off lanes, but I think a lot of that was due to the idiocy of Fred in the press.
Mm.
So if we push it out here, a sensible football team will use this three here to recycle it to try and get it out here. But what sometimes happens is the ball gets played in, and let's say it's Ericsson. Ericsson intercepts the ball because we've been disciplined in the block and we haven't gone
Yep.
man to man. We haven't been concerned about runners going past us, and it's
Hmm.
now party time. So these are the fine details that win you football matches. Odegaard, Jesus, and White will all press, and so will Lokonga, but we'll deal with how Lokonga presses in 1 second. Your forwards split.
Yep.
And Rashford, I know, Andrew, you hated Rashford and you get annoyed that he's always in the centre, but it's because he's part of the rest attack. And when you go from the centre to out, you give your defenders an issue. Now, proper defenders, Omundi, stay central.
That's right.
They're centre backs, aren't they? So they should
Yep.
be in the centre, and you'd want to see them coming back like this.
That's true.
And the reason you want that to happen is because the ball here or the ball here is less dangerous than the ball here. So if Saliba goes man to man with Rashford and Gabriel goes man to man with
Ooh.
Ronaldo, yeah, the only team that do this is Liverpool. This is called this is countermark, and the only team that do it are Liverpool, because Van Dijk everyone thinks is strong and big, and you can't get past him.
You can go 1-on-1 with anyone, they say.
And now, this is the really key thing. Lokonga has to press like this. His movement, and this is the thing I found hardest to do, is he has to come out to in.
Yeah.
Because he's got to stop that pass to McTominay. He's got to stop that pass to the other pivot. And I honestly, I did this for 2 weeks, and it took me about 2 weeks to learn that movement. Because if you just run in straight, even like sort of Argentine farmers are able to pop it off to McTominay. So Eriksen's going to do it, and then this is the key thing, and this is what causes so many problems. Your far-sided midfielder. So in this case, it's Bruno. The second he sees the ball pinched, he has to make the run here.
Yeah.
So he makes that run there. And this is what gives centre-backs such a problem, because you've now got fast players out wide, a guy in the centre, and if you get the ball to Scott, or even if you play it in the gap there, you're on. And then you get the runs in. And I think everyone knows where we're going with this. But this is the rest attack. And we're going to show you the goals next, but I'm just going to stop it here to see if there's any questions on this. Because I understand this is a new thing, and like Omundi had never trained in this before. It's literally just me
never.
and the lads in Mendoza who have done this. So let's see what the comments say.
So basically, there's not many comments, but Gavin Ward saying, take your time, don't worry about Solo. But we are time restricted, but we will make the point here, which is brilliant at this point. So going back, I think we could go back to the goals maybe now, and because there's no one else really. They're talking about Pogba.
Okay, they're talking about Pogba. Right, so just to let me just press the share button again, because
let's go back in.
We'll get it up, and we're on. No, this is the wrong thing. So this is the rest attack. So what you're looking for in a rest attack is your strikers to be like your forwards in the block to be central most of the time. So even when the ball goes out to Zinchenko, you'll just see Ronaldo walk, or you'll see Rashford walk, and that's absolutely fine. But when the ball gets turned over, you want to instantly see movements from the centre out. Yep. And then come back in, and you want to see Bruno or the far side midfielder get in this space here to give them something to protect in the centre. So
and hopefully he's ahead of the number 6.
Yes.
He's
so
anticipated early.
This is our goal. This is a press, by the way. But talk us through it, Omundi.
Where's the ball? Sorry, I can't. All right. So
okay, I'll take it back for you. Don't worry.
Thank you. All right. So the midfielder's got the ball. He's playing kind of left centre back. They've given the ball away. Bruno now has played the ball in between. We've seen this is sort of like a rest attack, really, because Rashford's made that run out, in, and then in. So Saliba's thinking about Rashford here. Out and in. Yep. And he's
finishes. All right, there's a lot that goes on here.
Yeah.
Now, football is a team game, and shout outs to Ronaldo, Scott, and Delo, because Ronaldo initiates a press here from out to in, forcing Lokonga onto his weak left foot. McTominay recognises there's a press and changes his name to Pontius Pilate because he's about to kill Jesus here. Shout out to my biblical boys. And
this is
Delo,
a massive tackle, wasn't it, or interception?
Yeah, he just shoulders him off the ball, and then Delo steps in to intercept, and Bruno and Eriksen, if it gets to Martinelli, are able to get back in the block. So even though Arsenal have got possession, we're in a really good system here. So there you go. Ronaldo with the press, McTominay going man to man, booting the ball off. It gets to
Oh,
Delo,
no.
and now we're on rest attack, boys.
Yep.
And the reason we're on rest attack is because there's four in between our lines and one beyond. So this is go time. And
Wow.
what do our players do?
This is exactly how you illustrated the rest attack earlier.
Yeah, it's
Just to
really, really good. You see Ericsson move in to get the ball, and you see Bruno occupying the central area. And as good as the player Zinchenko is off the ball and Odegaard off the ball, Zinchenko has to take him out, and
Yeah.
Odegaard has to get on Bruno. And you can see Rashford is peeled off. And what this means is Gabriel and Saliba are protecting the centre, but Saliba, he's unsure. Ben White's having a horrible day. Lokonga's having a worse day. And let me clear these lines. And then Bruno, I have
Both
to give
Bruno
it
and
to him.
Ronaldo. Yeah.
Well,
I'm
I have
sorry, both
Ronaldo.
Rashford and Ronaldo. Yeah.
This
Gone
ball
wide.
is outrageous from Bruno Fernandes. Like, no man should be able to play this. It's unreal that he gets that. But that's the rest attack principle.
Yeah.
And you can see we're still we've got two
Yeah.
Vs. We're still really, really, really well defended in the
Just
middle of the pitch.
for time restraints here,
Yeah.
the third goal, I'm
Hmm.
sure, will illustrate similar issues with
It
Arsenal and
does.
how we exploit the space.
It certainly does. So this is the third goal here. It comes from a throw-in. And I'm going to give, I know we're short for time, but I'm going to give everyone a bonus clip after this, say why I'm unhappy with this. But you can see that Fred is on at this stage. There's a line of four. There's been lots of subs by Arsenal, and they're in a
Yeah.
ridiculous situation here.
Mm.
So talk us through it.
All right, so Ronaldo's picked up the ball. He's attracted a lot of people there. He's managed to take it out to Bruno, who's played the ball into Ericsson, who's exploited the space down the middle, and it's been slightly squared it for Rashford to score. So Ronaldo's definitely attracted players there and played it onto Bruno's, sort of seeing the space that Ericsson's attacked in between the centre, or the two guys in the middle, who was White and Saliba.
Yeah. Okay. So what we see here is we see Arsenal's counter press structure from a throw-in. Fred is listening to Dance Ecuadoro over here. I don't know what he's doing there. He should be back here. But Vieira doesn't press correctly. Vieira runs in a straight line instead of like curving his press to stop the ball to Ericsson. And what that means is it bounces off his shin and it gets to Bruno. And we push up, but Ericsson, he sees the gap. And the reason why is Rashford, slightly off centre, pulls Ben White, and bless him, Dancing Fred has pulled out Saliba, and the rest of the team are trying to counter press on Bruno. And Bruno, once again, produces a piece of magic. But here, this is absolutely disgusting from Arsenal. That's the area you need to protect. Saliba and White, at a minimum, need to be here. And it's completely naive from all of them. And just before you discuss it, Omundi, I've got something to show you, which is we did this against Brentford.
Against Brentford,
against Brentford. This is a goal we conceded against Brentford. Ronaldo
the first goal.
And Fred.
Yes.
It's exactly the same, but this time we score from it. The ball goes in, Fred moves out exactly the same way he did, Rashford peeling off, but they press correctly, the ball breaks.
Oh, I remember this.
And they go through the middle, and it's a De Gea, and it's a De Gea error. And look at this. This is exactly the same thing. We throw it out. Fred gets ahead. Rashford's pulled off. We get counter pressed. But the only difference here is that McTominay and Ericsson are in position now. More
I see.
McTominay
That is
propaganda.
scary. That's scary how similar that is.
Yeah, it's got to be a set piece. Like, it's got to be a set piece.
Yeah.
But this is why you play McTominay, because in the last clip, Ericsson and Fred and Bruno,
Yeah.
or whoever he played, he had partners with, there weren't enough men back there. This time,
Yeah.
we've got enough men back there and we score. And this is why defensive shape is so important, and also luck. And then Fred, maybe this is the plan, Maybe the plan is that Ronaldo gets it and knocks it to Bruno, and we know there's a big counter press there. And this is why Ericsson is not. He's so sharp because not only has identified the space to run through, but because it's a set piece. And I think it is a set piece. And I'm interested to see how often we see this done this season. And then the goal is scored, and I think, Omundi, that unless there's anything to add, that is the end of the clips for this evening.
I think that's a wrap. I think, look, this observation. I mean, what you just showed there about the same move with what happened against Brentford, happened the same thing again, which is maybe a bit of an error, but this time we sort of slightly got lucky off the deflection of Vieira. Yeah, I mean, it's great observation again. I have to commend you on your observation of the game and what you're seeing there. And this is why we call it the eye test, because you're picking up on things that other people don't really tend to see. Even myself, I wouldn't have recalled that Brentford move to sort of compare, and they are very, very similar. So
well, as much as I love compliments, I also animated that Brentford goal, and I animated the last goal, and halfway through doing it I felt that I'd remembered putting Fred wildly out of position before.
I'm sure we'll be seeing a lot more of this throughout the season with different kind of moves. I want to say from Super Nick, she's saying fantastic, brilliant stuff, Vaughan. So she agrees.
Thank you, Super Nick.
Everyone else as well. That's a great observation. What we're seeing there, and this is what the eye test is all about, guys. And we're going to wrap it up very soon. But just to show you, I mean, you've obviously seen the post-match show and the goals and everything else. But hopefully, by watching the eye test and with Vaughan as well, you're going to get to see a more detailed and a different view and an opinion sometimes, but we can evidence it on how what's happening on the pitch, rather than just the standard stuff you see on Sky Sports or other YouTube channels as well. So it might take a long time to go through, but I think it's if you're a nerd like us for tactics and you love the game that much, this is really, really refreshing to have this sort of content on YouTube or on the World Wide Web to be discussing this. So want to say thank you to you guys. Rich Sports saying quality stream. Emma K saying absolutely good stuff. Absolutely good stuff this show is. We thank you for that. And obviously Super Nick, you responded to her earlier, Vaughan. She's saying fantastic, brilliant stuff, Vaughan. Vincent saying our game against Arsenal was that good. I've watched it 15 times. Gavin Ward saying, think you need to do some coaching badges, bath time with Vaughan, future manager somewhere. I agree. Super Nick saying, big up to everybody. Eddie Waffles in the house as well. How you doing? Top show, as always, learning more from the show than any other show. So love it. So thank you all the way. It's all from Australia.
Thank you. Yeah, you don't get to hear about... you don't normally on football shows. You don't get to hear about people's summer holidays in Argentina practicing how to counter attack. So
it's amazing, that, isn't it? I mean, you're an Englishman who's gone over to South America to play football, and you've learned that drill. You remember that drill so much because they've gone over it over and over again. It just shows the game in different continents, or it's played in different continents, different ways, and it's so effective. Argentina have 2 World Cups behind the name on the name? Yeah, 2 World Cups. And a few finals as well. And it shows you how they look at more detail. And this is why we don't have many English top coaches in the game as well. I think English football needs to sort of learn some of this. And it's great you've gone abroad. A lot of players that do go abroad, like Trippier, for example, they come back
Harry
and
Winks.
Wow, Harry Winks should go abroad.
He is. He's gone abroad. My favourite player.
Oh, God. Cormac Maguire saying, this is a much better detailed analysis than on the TV. Well done.
Thank you, Cormac. Shout out to your brother, Harry.
Rich Sports is saying, I think the Leicester job will be up for grabs soon. What about data analysis? Have you ever considered that, Barthan? And Cosman saying, this is a great show. Gracious, Hermano.
The other way on. Yeah, like, look, this is all, like, as I always say, like, only clowns and children need applause. I'm really grateful for, and I'm speaking for Omundi here, we're really grateful for all your comments and stuff, but I would also like a bit of criticism and different opinions from the chat. We're not here to lecture you on football. We've both played and trained and so on, but what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to show, like, things that I've done, like playing football and how I look at games and stuff, so that you guys, when you watch a game and, you know, your Arsenal friend comes to you and says, oh, you know, we had so much more of possession, you can see the rest attack, you can see the block, and you can understand and enjoy the beauty of the match more. And that's kind of what we're trying to do. So whilst I appreciate all these comments, I'd love to see, like, next Tuesday, lots of people telling us about what they saw in the Crystal Palace game. And also, I'll be doing this on Friday night, maybe as a one-off, on Rich Sports 7, after the Real Sociedad game. And I'd be delighted if all of you come and watch, because Rich is a great friend of ours here at The Agenda.
Big up Rich Sports. Make sure you subscribe now, guys. Go and subscribe now to Rich Sports channel, because we're all part of the one big community. Just want to go through a couple more comments. So Super Nick, obviously we've talked about her, music lover and a sports lover, Man United supporter. Shane, this is a different level. Sorry, this is such a different take on the game, a real bird's eye view and detailed breakdown. Love it. Box is saying the poor masses had to put up with Lineker, Wright, Shearer, while we got Omondi and Varney. HG Game is saying, actually pick up things when watching matches now because of this. Vincent saying, wonderful. It's okay for half time with you. You don't have to agree, but it's an entertaining show at the end of the day. Saha might be in a pain in the arse, so that's an interesting one with Crystal Palace coming up. Super Nick saying, it's funny enough, these are the basic principles that over time have overcomplicated and moved, people who have overcomplicated and moved away from. Gavin Ward is saying, might have to tune into Graham Souness on the next one then. Big up to everyone and good evening for Matthew Bassett. How you doing, Matthew Bassett? I think that's a wrap for this week's edition of the Eye Test. It was a great week. We had two games. We didn't even touch on the Leicester game, did we?
No.
That was a lovely goal that we scored against them, and we sort of managed each phase of play in the rest defence and the goal. I'm just trying to picture the goal again. They kicked it long to Dalot.
It was a rest attack.
Yeah, and Bruno peeled out wide, and Dalot was able to play it down the line, who played it in to Sancho, ended up scoring. It's a while ago now. We're so busy talking about the Arsenal game. Last couple of comments here. Mark Edmonds saying, there's no high-level analysis, let alone tactical analysis in Australia. This is great for me. I'm in learning mode right now. We'll try to add my take in time. Thank you so much. And Rich Sports saying, thanks, Omundi and Vaughan. Looking forward to getting you back on my channel as soon as possible. Thanks, Omundi and Vaughan, says Super Nick. We're going now, guys. So, say goodbye. Fox says Omundi Keys and Vaughan Gray. But we're not sexist. We won't be talking about women in that way. But we will be having a laugh. And my hands aren't that hairy, by the way. And, Nick can be simple when done well. And final comment, because I won't be reading anymore because we're going to go now. H Gamer, this comes to you. He said Bruno did another nice throw for Leicester goal.
I'd just like to say before we go, Omundi, that if you're watching, like, not live and after the show, please put comments in, like, even if it's just a hello, because we know a lot of people, like, watch this throughout the week, and we know that the Woodlands, like, football community appears to have
this time.
Like, all of Omundi's teams have to watch this, so, like, let me know how it's going, lads.
I hope they are watching. I really hope they are watching, because we're losing a lot of games, and they need to sort of study this and realise where we're going wrong. And I am preaching, but it is, we can back it up now with, I've got my little tactical board that I bring to the game, but this is a lot better for them. So, you can imagine. Gather around, guys, that kind of thing. But I'm learning so much. The ceiling of learning the game is so high, and you can never know too much about football. and I haven't got a huge ego to think I know everything, even though I've done a lot of sort of coaching and playing and that kind of thing. But Vaughan, I have to give you respect, man, because a lot of stuff you can see with the eye test that I'm learning and thinking, wow, oh yeah, and the way you explain things is on the ball, on the money. So big up to you. We're
Cheers.
going to finish now, guys.
Yeah. Good
Just
night, everyone.
yeah, we'll be back. Obviously, when we're back every Tuesday at 10 p.m. Regardless, we will be putting shows out, and we will be having coaches on very soon, who experienced coaches. My friend Paul Hughes will be coming on very soon. I've spoken to him recently. He's ex-Chelsea player. He's now managing non-league and doing really well. So we're going to ask him about zonal defending and things like that, and get him on the show. So make sure you big up, share the show, endorse us, and tell your friends, to watch the show, because we think it's good. And we're glad you guys think it's good too. Any last words before I sign out? Half time?
Nah, good night, everyone.
Okay, well, that's enough from us. See you later, guys. Bye-bye.